As we first showed you on Monday, San Diego City and county leaders unveiled this artist rendering of what a new stadium would look like in Mission Valley, along with an environmental impact report and a financing plan. Here with a breakdown of the proposal and analysis are my guests, Jim Stieg, former NFL executive, and Jay Paris with Mighty 1090 Sports Radio. And Jay, give us a breakdown of San Diego's new financing plan for the possibly new Charger Stadium.
Well, it's proposing $350 million of funds, public funds, city assets, however you want to term it. They want the Chargers to kick in north of $300 million, the NFL to kick in north of $200 million, and then sell almost $200 million worth of personal seat licenses. You're starting to talk about some money now. You start adding all that up. So it's an interesting plan. The trouble is, and Jim and I talked about it earlier, it's like Clint Eastwood talking to that empty chair at the Republican convention. The city's talking, but there's nobody on the other side.
How much more would taxpayers need to pay or would be involved in this public money you're talking about?
Well, they're saying that no new city or no county taxes would be raised, no new taxes, but assets, taxpayer assets would be used to the tune of over $300 million. It would have to go to a vote. They're saying the mayor, city of San Diego isn't famous for approving tax increases or spending public money for private enterprises.
Well, I know Chargers special counsel Mark Fabiani issued a statement criticizing the environmental impact report in part of this plan, saying in part the Chargers have been clear from the start that the franchise will not be the city's guinea pig for this inevitably ill-fated legal experiment. Jim, as a former NFL executive and a member of the stadium task force, what do you think the NFL owners would like or dislike with this plan that was presented to them yesterday, correct?
Yeah, I think there are a couple things in it that they like, and there's some things they're going to question. One of the things that they're going to like is they want public funding, and they've always talked about a private-public partnership, and that's a very key component to what they want as far as the relocation guidelines, that there is some support from the community to be there, and I think it's there. And I think what's drawn out there and the way they've funded it has got a lot of things like we did on the CSAG. You know, it's looking at the existing expense that's going into Qualcomm that would go into Qualcomm into perpetuity and basically coming up with a lower number than that. So it's basically savings out of the general fund. I think the thing they're going to look at is the PSL number. And I think that they believe as the league that the teams get some portion of that PSL number as part of their
PSL, what you're talking about,
permanent seat licenses. So they're what you would charge, and they have charged now. Going back to Carolina in the 90s was the first one to do it, that they charge you for the right to be able to occupy that seat, not just for NFL games, but for all events that are held in there.
How different, you kind of touched on this, how different is this new plan compared to the one the task force presented?
I think it's got a couple changes in it, but it's got a lot of the same kind of components in it. They took out, we had capitalized the rent payments and put that in there as a number that could get there, and so they've taken that out of the component picture, but then they in turn said that the Chargers would be, you know, liable for all the expenses that took place in the building, any cost overruns. They eliminated, we had put in that we were going to sell 75 acres of land. I think they got some pushback on that, and I don't think they wanted to have that part of the EIR process.
That's not part of this new financial
not part
plan.
Of the product.
Do you think, Jim, that this is a fair deal for San Diego taxpayers and for the team?
I think for the taxpayers it is. I think what's going to happen is it's another start in the negotiations, but as Jay said, you're negotiating against yourself right now, and there's a point, I'm sure there's a lot of component parts in this plan that have not been revealed publicly that are part of what you're going to sit down and negotiate about. And as I think everybody has said, they haven't had a partner negotiate over finances. Yeah,
so speaking of negotiations, Jay, do you think that the Chargers are going to come back to the negotiation table?
Only if the LA option isn't there. And, you know, the NFL is going to drag this out as long as they can, because they do one thing very well, other than sell tickets and sell beer and tires, is they sell leverage. And they're going to use both these cities against each other. You know, LA's been the stalking horse for years for all these other stadiums around the league. So I think they will come back when they don't have the LA plan, but right now that's to be determined.
So what's next then?
What's next is the meetings. They're meeting today in Chicago. They're going to meet again in October, and you know, the NFL is going to probably do something at the beginning of the year. And the NFL is serious this time. I mean, they really want to go back. It's been 20 years. They want to get into Hollywood. They want to get into the NFL.com Hall of Fame. They really want to plant the NFL flag in Southern California. You know, it's not Green Bay or anything, but there's a lot of football fans up there.
All right, and we'll have to end on this quickly. Jim, do you think that just basically yes or no, do you think that we're going to move forward with this Charger Stadium?
Well, I think you're the second invite to the dance, as Ron Roberts has said. I mean, they've made one invite, and that's where they want to go. And until that falls apart or something like that, that's what's going to take place.
All right, Jim Steig, Jay Paris, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.